Greetings, this is Greg for Teslafaninsight. We're focused right now on the fact that Tesla is on the verge of breaching from the 500s into the 600 realm this morning, the day after Thanksgiving 2020. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight, and once again, welcome. I want to thank our Patreon supporters as well as our subscribers. If you enjoyed the show, please take time to like and subscribe. We also want to mention that if you enjoy the show, please take time to comment, like, etc., because that makes a huge difference in terms of our engagement. Wow, today is a very interesting day. Tesla's stock price opened up about $10 down, then it kind of bounced up it bounced up pre-market, into that $5 to $7 range, and now it's up, like $15, closing in on 600. So this is kind of a historic point for the shares, and we decided to do a show in that regard. We did a show yesterday about the S&P and its impact right now on the stock price. When we sort of got into this, there was a suggestion by the folks at longtime S&P folks that in theory we would see a price someplace in the 20 to 30% above what the price had been previously. And so now that we have all these complications related to Tesla's entry into the S&P related to its market cap, I think that this has sort of created, kind of a thermonuclear situation for the stock price. And the next iteration of this issue will be what happens on Monday when it comes to S&P announcing the process by which they're going to bring Tesla into the S&P. So the answer right now is even the folks at S&P are having to figure out what to do in order to get this done efficiently. And I think it's pretty exciting for you and us, everybody who's a shareholder. It's an amazing time for the stock and the company. There's one of the most interesting parts, I think, of investing in certain realms is, I want to call it right brain and left brain. Let's call the left brain in this case the fundamentals of the stock. So if we really dig it out from what everybody is saying in terms of the analysts, someplace between 570 and about 600 is the sort of full value based on analysis that anybody can put on it right now. Future, different story. So why this is interesting is that on one hand of the brain, you're saying, hey, valuations are okay and not great, but at least they're okay. On the other side of the brain, there's this issue of the shortage of shares caused by the S&P entry and the battle by different entities to acquire shares successfully. So this whole situation is truly unprecedented. It doesn't happen a lot because the companies that enter in the S&P typically aren't this big. There's just a whole bunch of interesting data points to it. But in essence, the argument you could make is that, hey, this ain't happening if the demand wasn't there. So I really think this is amazing because rarely do you completely sort of step away from valuations and step into a supply-demand situation for shares. And then afterwards, we'll have to come back to valuations. And so, one of the anticipatory trades everybody's making right now is the fact that Tesla should experience a pretty deep drop in value once it does enter the S&P, because there are a bunch of folks who know that it can't sustain the current valuation just on its fundamentals. So now you see why there's a left brain, right brain. There's different conversations going about of what is the true value of Tesla and how, if you're a smart person, how do you own it, how do you trade it, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't have an answer to this yet, but we're looking forward to the market telling us the answer based on how the stock price does. Next issue is we kind of made this show, we got into 600, does it mean 800? I had a conversation with a gentleman this morning who owns 800 shares of Tesla, and he actually sold covered calls into February. And about 4 times he asked me, well, wait a second, do you think it'll get to 800 by February? And I just thought it was interesting because I don't think it's out of the realm that Tesla couldn't get to 800 by the 21st of December. So his point was, hey, I love the company. I hope it doesn't get to 800 so I don't get taken out of my shares. But if I do, I actually plan to buy back in because I really, love this story, love the company, et cetera. And I thought this was a really interesting conversation because, 800 is 200 points away. It represents a doubling of the stock price from when the S&P was announced. And I think that what tends to happen is all the prognosticators will be all over Tesla because its market cap has gone so high. And so I'm really fascinated by the fact that, hey, there's no need to stress out on it. If the stock price rises to where it is and it's a supply, situation, it's not about whether or not the company is worth that much. It's about how many shares are there, what's the supply, how many people have to get them. So I just think that this is a completely different conversation. And I really think that it's hard for the general marketplace, be it CNBC and others, to truly both understand, grasp, and embrace this and stay on the naysayer side. And then the next minute you hear them talking about Elon being the second richest person in the world. So I'm bringing all this up to you because I think it really takes courage on the part of Elon to do what he's doing. It also takes courage on the part of the general press to embrace logic that's not, easy to digest, simple, etc. Where do we see things going? Well, Tesla's developed a pattern right now where we're seeing 5 or 10 points in the pre-market. Once the stock opens, we're seeing a 30-ish point rise for the day. And I think that based on the supply challenges we just talked about, this phenomenon should continue for another perhaps 2 or 3 days, but possibly another couple of weeks until enough shares are acquired by those that need them. The right now thing is the handicapping of what's going to happen after market on Monday when S&P announced that they're going to explain the process by which Tesla will be brought into the S&P. And so I think expect that to really affect the stock price as well as people see what the answer to this. I think it's going to force the stock price likely higher because if it was an easy entry, you wouldn't see these price movements. If it's a harder entry, it's an illustration of the fact that it is valid that the stock price is is pushing up as buyers try to get owners to get off shares so that they can complete their allocations and solidify their S&P positions. So how should one look at it, think about it, plan it? I really think that it's a great time to be a buyer and holder of Tesla's stock. I was surprised when the gentleman that I spoke about mentioned that he had done covered calls. And I was like, man, why didn't you just sell some puts against it so it wouldn't be naked puts? And then now you have a premium you can use to buy calls or buy more shares. And he's like, no, I prefer to go about it in this fashion. So, hey, he's done well with his shares, so I'm not worried about it. If it goes up to 800 and he gets taken out, he still gets all that money that he's made while owning the shares, even though the tax bite might be painful from getting sold out there. So it's a very interesting situation. We actually have sort of a bull case of 1,000 sitting out there. Stock is currently at, like I said, just 595. It's been 97 at the high today, and we're expecting it to breach 600 today heading forward. The only fly in the ointment, it is a Friday, and so there seems to be an effort to keep Tesla below $600 for the day as a way to make sure all the 600 call positions expire worthless. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like they're going to get that done. But we're hopeful that they don't. And a lot of you end up cleaning up from having purchased those call options. At any rate, the next thing I wanted to review in general is just the fact that we're in an interesting zone for any company, including Tesla. And we're hopeful that, cooler heads prevail and we just get a simple buy a lot of stock, make a lot of money for everyone, and we're all good to go. Final component of what I wanted to review today is your health tips. Don't forget 25 leg lifts per day. I am looking to my left because I actually have leg weights today to show you what they look like. And we can kind of go from there. So this is called a leg weight. And the objective there is to use the leg weight as a way to strengthen your quad muscles so you don't end up with knee problems as you age. And so it gets wrapped around your ankle, and then you just do leg lifts on it while you're sitting in a chair. Now, the other items would be no more than once a week fried foods, prevent type 2 diabetes primarily. Number 3 is 30 SPF or better in a sunny environment particularly. We also wanted to encourage you to think about, if you're going to do lovemaking, make sure that you eat a salad or something very light to help facilitate a happy flow of blood that isn't going to digest that large meal. And then finally, we wanted to encourage you to not go to bed within 4 hours of eating, minimum 2 hours, letting the food digest before you go to bed so you don't end up with cancer or acid reflux related to that. Any rate, this is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, German au revoir, French Lehitro, Hebrew Choda Hafez, Farsi, Namaste, Hindi, do Virginia, Polish, Ohio gozaimasu, Japanese, Zdravstvuyte, Russian, hello, Ni hao ma, hello in Chinese, hey do, Swedish, and in Jamaica we say, enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.